Chapter 6, 42. The chamber didn't announce itself. One moment Ethan was standing in aisle 29 with his hand out for balance, breathing the smell of floor cleaner and stale air conditioning. The next moment, the store was gone. His stomach did the roller coaster lurch again, his ears popped, and his feet were on cold stone instead of tile. The smell of floor cleaner had been replaced by something that was not a smell so much as an absence. The dry, mineral, almost no smell of a place where the air had been sitting undisturbed long enough to forget what a smell was. He staggered and caught himself on a knee. Then he looked up. The chamber was enormous. That was the first thing, just the scale of it, the wrongness of the scale. The way a space that should not have been bigger than an aisle was now bigger than a warehouse. Circular. The floor was stone, polished to a dark sheen that caught what little light there was. The walls rose 40, 50 meters, carved with reliefs that ran in continuous bands around the chamber, interlocking geometric patterns, each section overlapping the next, the whole arrangement shifting slowly as he watched. Not fast, a meter a minute maybe, but deliberately. Pieces of a lock trying to find their teeth. The ceiling, if there was one, was lost in black above the reliefs. At the far end of the chamber, opposite where Ethan had arrived, a door stood in the curved wall, huge, engraved with the 3 Codex shapes nested in each other, the same triangle, square, circle he had seen on the shelf in the store. The door was closed, and even from here, Ethan could feel the weight of it. The kind of weight a door had when it had been built never to be pushed open, only solved. And scattered across the floor of the chamber, in a loose, terrified constellation, were people. Ethan counted on instinct. 41 others. The count felt important. It was the first grounded number he had been given since the system had announced 7.8 million participants, and his mind reached for it the way a drowning man reaches for a piece of driftwood. The 41 were in every condition a person could be in. Some were on their knees, palms flat against the stone as if testing whether the floor would still hold them again. One man had dropped his groceries. A 4-pack of cat food cans lay in a loose pile near his feet, and was staring at the cans as if they were the strangest thing in the room, which they arguably were. A woman in yoga pants was spinning in slow circles with her arms out, not panicked, just trying to see everything at once. Another man, heavier set, had his forehead pressed against the wall and was being sick against the stone. A teenage boy was crying the way kids cry when they've forgotten they're in public, unselfconsciously, from deep in the chest. Nobody was looking at anybody else. A low pulse ran through the floor, and letters wrote themselves into the air in front of everyone at once. Zone rules. No physical combat advantage. Progression locked to cognition. Cooperation optional. Deception permitted. Murmurs rippled through the room. What does that mean? Oh God, oh, where are we? I need... A woman near Ethan was saying, "My kids," over and over, quietly, like a mantra. Her voice was flat, not panicked. The kind of flatness that came after panic had burned itself out and left only the words. Ethan didn't move. He let himself stand very still in the middle of it and watch, which was the rule now. Don't be certain, and don't be first. The girl in the blazer had died because he had been certain. He was not going to be certain again tonight. Somebody was going to be first. Ethan felt the room computed at the same time he did. The group was a terrified 42 for exactly as long as it took one person to decide they were too important to die with strangers. And then the group became 41 plus a volunteer. The volunteer came from the left side of the chamber.
Red-faced, mid-40s, business suit, gray jacket, white shirt, expensive watch on his wrist, that had kept working despite reality ending. He was pushing through the crowd already, shouldering past the spinning yoga woman, not apologizing, saying "excuse me" in the flat, authoritative tone of a man who had said "excuse me" to 5,000 receptionists over the course of his career. "Out of my way," he said. "There's got to be an exit." "Wait," Ethan called. The man didn't hear him, or heard him and didn't care. He reached the door, slapped both palms against it, shoved. The door did what doors did when you shoved them in the wrong direction. It didn't move. He shoved again, harder. "Open! Come on! Come on, it's a door! There's gotta be—" He stepped forward and crossed a line. Ethan saw it, a faint pulse of geometry running across the floor a few meters in front of the door, the kind of seam pattern sight caught immediately, and the unaided eye would miss until the moment you stepped on it. The businessman's foot came down on the line. His whole body locked mid-stride, the way people lock up in a stroke.
His eyes went very wide. A grid bloomed above his head, fast and private, visible only because Ethan's pattern sight was running. 5 by 5, 25 cells. Ethan took one look at it and knew with a sickness in his gut that no one in this room solved a 5 by 5 grid on first contact. Not even him. It was too big, too many variables, too many hidden rules that could be anywhere. The businessman was trying to speak. I don't answer yet, Ethan called. Wait, I don't understand. Trial failed. The man dropped. Not sagged, not collapsed. Dropped the way the teenage girl had dropped. The string cut, the body no longer containing a person. His watch made a small metallic click against the stone as his wrist hit. The chamber went silent. Somebody screamed. A woman behind Ethan, high and ragged. The scream of a person who had reached capacity. Somebody else started praying aloud in a language Ethan didn't recognize. A man near the wall turned away and was sick on the stone again, this time dry heaving, there being nothing left.
Ethan stayed still. Don't be first. Don't be certain. The teenage girl's face, the can of soup, the wrong-shaped silence after her body hit the tile. All of it flickered behind his eyes in the half-second before he got his breathing back. He exhaled slowly and made himself look around. The group was already fracturing. A few clusters had formed by proximity rather than choice. People who had happened to arrive standing near each other were clinging to each other now, not because they knew each other, but because nobody else was closer. A woman in hospital scrubs, dark hair pulled back in a fast, practical knot, mid-30s, a white bandage already wrapped around her left forearm from God knew what, was moving between people, crouching, checking pulses, saying, "Breathe with me," and meaning it. She had a medic's economy, no wasted motion. Ethan watched her for a moment and thought, she's going to be useful, and she's going to get herself killed trying to help someone who doesn't deserve it. On the far side of the chamber, an older man stood entirely apart from everyone. 60s, maybe 70s, gray beard close trimmed, a worn canvas jacket with a frayed cuff, hands in his pockets, standing still the way a man stands when he's reading something carefully and doesn't want to disturb the page.
He was looking at the reliefs, not at the door, not at the body, at the walls. His head tilted slightly. His eyes moved slowly across one section of carving, and then, when the wall rotated by a meter, tracked the section to its new position and kept reading. Pattern sight, Ethan thought. He has it too. You're not looking at the door. Ethan turned. The man who had spoken was standing 2 paces to his left, close enough that Ethan should have noticed him and hadn't. Mid-30s, dark jacket over a dark shirt, nothing flashy, nothing cheap.
short hair, a face you wouldn't remember unless you'd had to. The kind of face, Ethan understood immediately, that the owner had cultivated into forgettability, the way other people cultivated beards or posture. His eyes were the thing you'd remember. Steady, watchful, reading Ethan the way Ethan read fluorescence. "Everyone else is looking at the door," the man said. His voice was pitched low, conversational, not wasting anything on performance. "You're looking at him." He tilted his head toward the old man at the wall. "Why?" Ethan hesitated for exactly one breath. "Don't be certain." "He's reading the walls," he said. "Yeah." The man's mouth did something that wasn't quite a smile. "So am I. So are you. That's 3 of us in a room of 40 people who are actually going to matter." 41, Ethan said, before he could stop himself. The man glanced at the dead businessman, then back. 40. A beat. "Name's Marcus." "Ethan." "Ethan," Marcus said. The way he repeated it wasn't affectionate. It was the way a man tested the weight of a coin in his palm to decide whether it was real currency. "You understand what's happening here?" "Parts of it." "How many parts?" Ethan looked at him for a long moment. He could feel the question for what it was, a pressure gauge. Marcus was measuring how much Ethan was willing to claim and whether he would overclaim. Anyone who said all of it would have been walked away from. Anyone who said none of it would have been walked away from for a different reason. "Enough to stay alive in the corridor," Ethan said. "Not enough to be sure about this room." Marcus studied him for what felt like longer than it was. Then, quietly, "Good answer." Something in the way he said it made the hair on Ethan's neck lift. Marcus had been ready to walk away. Marcus had been ready, if Ethan had claimed too much or too little, to smile politely and never speak to him again. And that decision would have killed Ethan by the end of the hour. This whole exchange had been a test, and Ethan had passed it by accident, by remembering a teenage girl he had killed by being certain. He filed that away. "The rules said deception is permitted," Marcus continued, as though reading the thought off Ethan's face. "So I'm going to be direct about it up front. I don't trust you yet. You don't trust me yet. That's fine. But the room is going to kill us faster than we can kill each other. So for now, we work together. When that changes, we both get to change with it. Deal?" Ethan almost laughed. It was the most honest thing anyone had said to him since the flickering light. Deal. Marcus nodded once, the bare minimum motion required to mean yes. "All right," he said. "Let's go meet the old man." They crossed the chamber together. The medic, Ethan heard someone call her Talia, looked up as they passed, her eyes doing the same quick inventory on them that she had done on every other person she had approached. Threat? No. Useful? Maybe. Her attention was already sliding past them, back to a young man on the floor who was hyperventilating into his own cupped hands. The old man didn't turn when they approached. He spoke first. "Rotation lock." "Sorry," Ethan said. The old man gestured at the wall without looking away from it. "Walls are rotating. Slowly. Every 12 seconds, a new section aligns with the door. The door opens on sequence, not force. This is a timed lock, not a strength lock." Marcus glanced at Ethan. A fractional glance. "You got that?" "I missed it," Ethan said. "So did I," Marcus said. The old man finally turned his head. His eyes were gray, tired, and entirely awake. The eyes of a man who had been doing difficult work for 40 years and was not going to stop tonight on account of a minor apocalypse. "Gideon," he said. "Retired structural engineer. 40 years reading blueprints. This room is a blueprint. Ethan, Marcus. Ethan nodded at each introduction. We'd like to work with you. I don't care about working with you, Gideon said, mildly, the way you'd correct a wrong address. I care about getting through that door. If working with you helps, fine. If it doesn't, I'll leave you behind. He considered both of them, then added, almost apologetically, no offense. None taken, Marcus said, immediately. Ethan almost smiled. One honest man, one dangerous one, and me. What do we do? He asked. Gideon turned back to the door. 3 faint layers of light hovered in front of it. A grid, a sequence of symbols, and a line of inscription that Ethan couldn't quite read from where he stood. We solve it, Gideon said, before the chamber decides we can't.